Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Kaz, your host, here to bring you Episode 5, Part 2 of the Round Table Tournament. We have some new faces and returning favorites once again for this, the second half of the Round of 8 for Episode 5. So, let's get down to the watchtower and see what sorts of aircraft we have waiting for us today. So here we are yet again on Team A with the F-39 Polaris Diamondback and F-39 Megadeth Diamondback sent in by none other than the legendary, the famous, the amazing Mustache. Yes, our favorite facial hair is back again, this time with a new craft, one that is making use of some interesting geometric designs in order to get a leg up on the enemy. I guess we can see why they called it the Diamondback. The structures on the fuselage are very much kind of similar to those on the F-117A Nighthawk, the stealth fighter, as it was called when it came out, using very angled surfaces to cut down on the radar cross-section of the craft. It's also, I'm assuming, called the Diamondback because, they look like diamonds. I don't know what else to say about that. Okay, so moving on. It is running with the Type 20 NMB cockpit, and this one, the Megadeth, is in fact hauling an EML into the air. I am excited. I want to see an EML kill. I want to see an EML kill. It has been far too long, and its blue streaks of death have only been taunting me, teasing me. I mean, everybody likes a little bit of teasing, but there's a little too much going on. Okay, so, anywho, we can see that this one is hauling the minimum of 6 missiles and appears to be powered by, yes, 2 Saturn afterburning turbofan engines. And, overall, looks very nimble. Most of these wings are actually made up of control surfaces. I would expect it to be able to move quite easily through the air. So let's just slip on over here to the Polaris, take a little bit of a look at this one. It is slightly different, looks a little more tail-heavy than its cousin over there. There's a very strong angle here with the, not necessarily a problem, as long as it doesn't drag its butt across the ground. Again, 6 missiles, and one thing I did notice, it's got a single BK-27 Mauser. Not quite sure why it's only got the one gun. Pardon me. I suppose it could be actually 2 guns clipped into one another, but I just don't see it. Maybe they thought that one was enough. Can't really complain with that. That's one less part that my computer has to load in and do all that fun stuff with. So, enough of that. Oh, wait, never mind. This is why it's only got one. It has the 50 cal turret special weapon that we have yet to see at all, which just has me hyped. This little thing here, it's not going to deal a ton of damage. However, it can fire behind and out to a 120-degree arc behind the aircraft. Meaning, if you get on the tail of this thing, it's going to start taking pot shots at you. Which, also, very interesting combination of weapons. We have this guy to run some interference, and this guy bringing the big guns. I am very eager to see how well these two aircraft work together. Now, enough of that. Let's get on to Team B. So, these bouncy aircraft on Team B here, the VFX-77 Tiger Shark is sent in by none other than BV Flyer 141. Still a fairly new face to the competition side of things, and is still always a welcome addition. These aircraft, they look far beefier than his last attempt at sending in designs. including the fact that its engines are very well protected inside this sort of protective engine casing nacelle type stuff, which is very nice. And of course, it's sporting the always classy F-14 Tomcat cockpit, which I am definitely a fan of. I am imagining that the bouncing is actually due to these slant gear, probably with the spring damper going on over here, would be my guess. And just KSP being KSP, because it does that. So, these are actually powered by Panther afterburning turbofan engines. Not my first choice for engines on a craft like this, but hey, maybe he knows something I don't. Either way, this plane does look very sleek and very deadly. I did also see that this weapon here, this AMRAAM, well, it's backwards. It's actually backwards. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I hope it is, because if so, that's freaking awesome. I love seeing stuff like that. Non-conventional, interesting things. Also, it does also sport the famous BK-27 Mausers, now on either side of the cockpit, looking very deadly, very nice. These two are identical, so there's no point in seeing the other one, and the sooner I can get these things into the air, the better. We don't want to have them bounce out of alignment. Anyway, I'll go ahead and we'll get over to the watchtower and get things into the air for round one. And we're back here for the start of round one. You'll have to bear with me. I am actually trying a slightly new camera position with the dogfight camera at the request of some viewers. So, if it looks a little strange, that's because it's something new. Either way, let's get these craft into the air and see what they are capable of. And those Panther engines managing to get the Tiger Sharks into the air, but less effectively than the Saturns on the Diamondback. I'm not sure the Panthers were a good choice. Again, they're not terrible engines. They do have their uses. But in a full-on heavy dogfight competition like this, more power and control over your acceleration is often very important. In any case, the competition is now starting, and sure enough, those single backwards-facing AIM 120Ds do fire off toward their enemy very quickly. Interesting indeed. Not sure what all of that was about. We just had a huge exhaust plume from something, probably one of the missile choices. Yes, PL-5 missiles on the Diamondback. Well, maybe they're hoping to blind their enemy with a cloud of nonsense. Hard to say. Either way, we've got missiles flying and no kills yet. That should be interesting. And here comes, and speaking of, we have an AIM-9 closing in. Ooh, okay, well, let's go ahead and slip on into one of the Tiger Sharks here and try out the new dogfight cam. So, it was suggested that the dogfight cam get put directly behind the aircraft, more or less. Similar to the way it might be in a dogfighting game like Ace Combat, instead of it being off to the side. So we're giving that a try. So, let's just kind of move around here. That Tiger Shark has been killed, and here we go. We get to see the Diamondback's view of things. Diamondback definitely doing its thing. Go ahead and move back to generic mode just so we can see how these aircraft are maneuvering. Oh man, Tiger Shark done in by guns and missiles. Not a pretty sight. But the Diamondback's definitely living up to their name, or at least the Megadeth one is. I have a feeling that might have been an email kill. Either way, let's go ahead and get them into round two. And we're back for round 2 with these fighters. Let's get them into the air. You guys will have to let me know how you like the new fighter cam. I know we didn't get to see very much of it there, but I will be using it on and off throughout the rest of the episode. So do give me feedback in the comments, because I do read those. Admittedly, there's also a lot of talk on the Discord about that. But the comments are nice, because I get a very... I tend to have Discord muted because I'm in a lot of servers, so... But comments are great. Lets me know exactly what people are seeing and thinking and everything else and all of that. And yes, though there are just a handful, I do read every single one. So, now the Tiger Sharks are getting into position. They are the slower of the two fighters, and again, they they fire those missiles backwards, which I gotta say, very cool. Actually making use of its slightly slower capabilities as far as speed to know that it's probably going to be facing away from the enemy. Very interesting. Speaking of, here comes missiles, the PL-5 missiles zipping by with the enormous blowback of particles there. Yep. Alright, so we're getting more smoke clouds going on. Not a whole lot happening at the moment. So let's go ahead and we'll go on to the Megadeth this time. Kind of see what it's doing, see if it lines up and gets an EML kill. Oh, not an EML kill, but a hit with a missile, it looked like. Oh! That was a direct hit with an EML from the Megadeth. Oh, on that Tiger Shark. Oh, and you can see just the power of the EML. If it manages to get a hit, it's basically like being shot in the face with a missile. It is incredibly deadly. However, that makes it not the very best dogfighter because it doesn't have enough time to adjust as easily as a standard gun. It means if it misses its opportunity, it has to wait a long time before another one will come in. Now there's only one Tiger Shark left as the Diamondbacks come back in. Oh! And a deadly missile ending it. It's lining up a shot with the EML, waiting for it to come off cooldown before it tries to fire, it looks like. Either way, I don't care. I am a happy man. I got to see the first confirmed EML kill of the tournament. I am happy. I am very happy. Yes. You can hear the smile on my face that I got to see that. Anyway, enough blabbering and yammering from me, slack-jawed. The Diamondback will be continuing on to the round of 4 in the semifinals. Now then, let's see what we have for the second batch of fights today. So this time we're starting with Team B, if only because I like going from this direction to the other direction, and this one was set to B Team. We have the T-26 M2 Redeemer sent in by none other than the legendary Reverend Jellybeans, who took a bit of a break from his DT series after the defeat of the drone. I heard they had something of an uprising on their hands as the AI took over their systems and threatened to hold them all for ransom. I'm sure they just trapped it in an alternate reality where the British Empire was still a thing. In any case, enough oppressive laughter. Let's go ahead and take a look at the T-26, shall we? Looks like it's a mainstay of Rev's designs. They are very small, very sleek, and of course sporting dual 30mm Mausers. Interesting missile choices here. We've got a couple of little aphids, very small missiles. They're basically slightly less powerful AIM-9s. Lighter as well, and PL-10E missiles set to engaging air. All of these are air missiles, so I'm kind of wondering, I'm assuming they're all heat-seeking as well, would be my guess, knowing the standard trend. It is using the Su-57 cockpit, the PAC-5 cockpit, which is, I mean, honestly, it is basically one of my favorite cockpits. It's just small, it's sleek, it looks pretty. I can't say enough good things about it. And our good buddy Rev is also using the WS-10B engines, which are light and yet still offer a good deal of power for their size. Also have engine nacelles and other things on here, so everything that we see here is very compact. Everything here has a purpose and is designed for a specific reason. Rev is very good about that, including this very careful part layering to avoid clipping issues, and I mean also to just kind of add a little bit of thickness to the wing of the aircraft, which does make it look better, if we're being honest. So again, these two are identical, so there's no need to look at its wingman. Let's go ahead over to Team A and see what they've got for us. And on Team A over here, we have the EX Fighter 5.8. I'm just going to basically round it up to the EX Fighter 6. I know it's not actually the Fighter 6, and I get some crap for it, but I don't care. It's easier to say. This aircraft, which looks an awful lot like an F-22, is in fact sent in by none other than WaffleTech Gamma, otherwise known as the Milkomedian Odyssey. And yes, I'm positive that it's the right one this time. It's not a misstep. This is definitely them. Shut up. Anyway, so let's go ahead and see what we've got here. Using the Type 20 enemy cockpit, like the aircraft from earlier was. Also a nice choice. Very stealthy cockpit. Running with the PL-10 missiles. Very cool. Also running with the 117S turbo engines, which, interesting choice. They are a little lighter. They're a little lighter than the Product 30 engines, with a little less power and a little less ISP. However, they have a similar performance curve to the Product 30 engines, as opposed to the WS-10 engines on the back of the Redeemers over there. Those are set for low altitude and lower speeds, but high power within that power band, while this is set for slightly higher speeds. So you don't get quite as much kick, but over a distance you will go faster. So we're going to have to see how well those do. It does have an air brake here, very nice. I always like these very sleek looking, you know, these very, very sleek looking Mark II style aircraft. They just look nice, and it's difficult to do well, which is another thing. We can see a little bit of wing layering here to get a little more performance out of these aircraft. And I do believe, yep, down here, wait a minute, I see something fun. There's a Mauser there, and what is that? There we go. It is a GS-30, so they're actually combining these two 30mm cannons. Each one has a slightly different rate of fire and a slightly different muzzle velocity. So, to me, that says that they're trying to aim for a solid stream of bullets with slightly less delay between them, hoping to make use of any benefit that may have, because sometimes having two different bullet streams at different speeds can be beneficial. So I'd like to see that theory put to the test, and knowing the history of Rev's designs back there, I wouldn't put it past it that it's going to need it. So, without further ado from me, let's go ahead and get back to the watchtower and get these things into the air for round one. And here we are back in Watchtower amid the glorious silence of the activated NMB engines. Let's go ahead and get them started. Into the air. Brakes off, engines to maximum. You can also see that the EX Fighter 5 is probably a little heavier than the Redeemer, though that's to be expected. Rev's craft are famous, very famous for being lightweight and mean little bastards. Anyway, I'm excited to see how these aircraft stack up, especially the mixed guns of the EX Fighters here. competition is starting. We have both craft turning hard, and it's hard to say, but it looks like the EX Fighter 5s are in fact or EX Fighters, we're just going to call them, are the first ones to get off missiles, sending the Redeemers into a dive. Also, they're now countering with their own missiles. It's a Missile-palooza. Aircraft is coming every which way here. Oh, and a Redeemer has been taken out by a missile. Oh! An EX Fighter takes a missile to the face. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get into one of the fighters here, see how they're doing. Looks like those gun streams are fighting. Now, I'm not sure I'm exactly happy with the position of the camera there. Maybe knock that up just a little bit there. Okay. Well, that was awfully fast. Seems like the Redeemer is going to have a little bit of work cut out for it. The EX Fighters. Let's get into round 2. So after a lightning-fast round 1 from the EX Fighters, basically eliminating the Redeemers in short order, let's see if the Redeemers can redeem themselves, shall we? Let's kick the tires and light the fires, boys, into the air! So, speaking of catchy settings, or sayings, did you know that balls to the wall actually comes from Air Force lingo? Apparently, back in the day, the throttle knobs on aircraft were kind of ball-shaped, and you'd push them forward into the firewall in order to get full thrust out of them. So, balls to the wall literally meant full open throttle. Interesting little tidbit there. And it looks like the Redeemers are getting missiles off first. It's a sign of two very evenly matched aircraft when the missiles don't always launch in the same order. This could potentially be a very interesting fight. At the very least, we'll get to see more of what the Redeemers can do. Trying those aphids. Now that we've definitely passed the first thing, let's go ahead and get into the Redeemers since they're on the offensive right now. Redeemer turning to light up the EX Fighter. Looks like it's taken out the vertical control surfaces with its gun, manages to blow off a wing. That is one EX Fighter down. The other EX Fighter, the remaining EX Fighter, however, is now hot on the tail of this Redeemer, and there were some kind of a collision. Short-range missile launch, trying to track in. Looks like it was good. Last second, gets stuck on a flare. This one tracking, trying to find its target. Check this other Redeemer out on the corner here. Looks like it's trying to take care of the landed EX Fighter. Never a good thing. This Redeemer, however, coming in, trying to launch, well, what was left of its missiles. Last one. And a direct hit to that final that final EX Fighter. Oh man. Okay. You know what that means, ladies and gents? We've got one win apiece. We are officially going to a round 3. And we're back for round 3 for these fighters. Let's go ahead and get them into the air. See how they do. We're at one win apiece. It could be anybody's game at this point. Will the Redeemer win one for the British Empire, or will the obviously American-inspired EX Fighter win the day? Echoes of the Revolutionary War. Will we forever live under oppressive laughter, or will we have to listen to America fuck yeah again and again? Aircraft turning in hard, and it looks like the EX fighters are getting their missiles off first. However, we do have a cheeky missile being fired by the Redeemers. Both aircraft now closing, trying to avoid missiles and firing their own. Alright, we're going to be getting into a gunfight now. The first passes have been done. Let's go ahead and get on an EX fighter this time. Uh-oh! We have a Redeemer being taken out by a missile very quickly. And now we've got a 2-on-1. Redeemer just heading straight on for a head-on collision. Let's go ahead and watch this. We got an interesting view here. However, it looks like the Redeemer is managing to heat up that EX fighter, but it's got one closing in on its tail right now. There's some lag, probably. Oh man, we've got all kinds of EX fighter debris right now. How is that one looking? That one's closing. That one's just a cockpit. Redeemer needs to stop redeeming the crap out of that EX fighter and turn around. It's still got one on its tail. With the 2 planes left, we're going to switch over into fighter mode. Apparently the weapons on this are the Kraut cannons. I feel like that's somewhat racist. And a beautiful final pass by the Redeemer. Well, looks like there's going to be more oppressive laughter in our future. Well, with that, I suppose I should go, Well, I think it's safe to say that the Redeemer is, in fact, the winner of this round. Had me going there for a bit. I wasn't quite sure. Either way, this does it for the round of 8. We're going to be moving on to the semifinals next, here on Fighter Jet Roundtable Tournament. Look out for Episode 5, Part 3 in the future. Until then, I've been Kaz. Have a good night.